Finally tonight, she's largely known for issuing stinging dissents from the Supreme Court bench. But a new documentary out today in select theaters provides an intimate and rare look inside the life of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Jeffrey Brown has that.
I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
It's a look at perhaps the most unlikely rock star Washington's ever seen.
I am 84 years old and everyone wants to take a picture with me.
The new documentary, RBG, follows the life of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Her Brooklyn roots, a legal education then rare for a woman at Harvard and Columbia, her husband, also a prominent attorney who supported her rise every step of the way, and most of all, her early and continuing fight for gender equality. That theme winds throughout the film, including at her 1993 confirmation hearing after her selection by President Bill Clinton.
In my lifetime, I expect to see 3, 4, perhaps even more women on the High Court bench, women not shaped from the same mold, but of different complexions. I surely would not be in this room today without the determined efforts of men and women who kept dreams of equal citizenship alive.
And the rest is a history that continues to this day. Filmmakers Betsy West and Julie Cohen join me now, and welcome to you.
Thank you.
You know, you do make much of this unexpected cultural rock star. Is that what attracted you to her in the first place?
Well, Julie and I had both interviewed Justice Ginsburg for previous projects. So in 2015, when we noticed the notorious RBG just exploding on the internet, we realized that there was an opportunity to tell much more.
Play, of course, on the rapper, right?
The rapper, notorious B.I.G.
Yeah.
But we knew that there's so much more to her story. Back in the 1970s, as a young lawyer, Ruth Bader Ginsburg argued a series of cases that changed the world for American women. And we thought this was a story and an opportunity that needed to be told.
People are, you know, on the one hand so excited by her, but actually she's got this amazing history that isn't widely known. You know, just she was sort of the legal side of the women's rights battle that Gloria Steinem was fighting out on the streets and yet hadn't attained that same level of fame.
I want to show a little clip from the film. This is one of her arguments before the Supreme Court, which is again part of her story, right? She was appearing before the court. And we hear the voice of then Chief Justice William Rehnquist. So let's take a look.
Men and women are persons of equal dignity, and they should count equally before the law.
You won't settle for putting Susan B. Anthony on the new dollar.
When they would say things like this, how did you respond?
Well, never in anger, as my mother told me. That would have been self-defeating. Always as an opportunity to teach. I did see myself as kind of a kindergarten teacher in those days because the judges didn't think sex discrimination existed. Well, one of the things I tried to plant in their minds was think about how you would like the world to be for your daughters and granddaughters.
A couple of stunning lines in there, right? I mean, Justice Rehnquist talking about Susan B. Anthony.
Just joking. Here she is making a serious constitutional argument, and he's just tossing off this joke. I mean, we found a number of instances of this kind of, you know, really blatant sexism. You can't believe that the justices would say this.
But then Justice Ginsburg now with this line, I felt like a kindergarten teacher.
Exactly.
That was, wow.
Right. Well, what's amazing, even listening to her voice back then, and we have so much of it in the film, is how much this young lawyer is able to keep her composure in a situation that really could be quite intimidating for a lot of lawyers. And now when she's looking back on it, she kind of explains why. She was going to use the opportunity not to be offended and not to get all bristly about it, but to educate.
She's, of course, a liberal icon at this point in a court that has moved more and more conservative, a famous friendship with Antonin Scalia, the arch-conservative, but her role has become more writing a dissents, right?
Yes, she tells us in the movie that she would prefer to be writing majority opinions,
I
but
suppose any justice would.
any
yeah.
justice would to be making the law of the land, but if necessary, she will write in dissent, and she writes very clear, striking prose that is one of the reasons why people have been so attracted to her.
She got in one public mishap with candidate Donald Trump when she criticized him, which was a little unusual for a justice, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
And for her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A number of court watchers were surprised to hear her criticizing then candidate Trump at a time when most of the nation didn't expect that he would be elected president. Conservatives criticized her, but liberals criticized her as well. And ultimately, not long after, Justice Ginsburg said that the best response from her about Donald Trump would have been to say nothing.
Yeah, she realized that.
Yeah.
You know, Supreme Court justices are sort of famously mysterious and hidden figures, not public figures. This is a largely warm look at her with her family. We see the long hours she keeps. We see the physical workouts, right?
Yes.
Where I learned that she watches the NewsHour while she's working
Well,
out.
yes, absolutely.
So hello, Justice Ginsburg, right?
Yes.
And keep lifting.
Yes, a shout out to her. When we interviewed her children, we were asking her whether or not she's seen the parody of her on Saturday Night Live.
You can't get rid of me. Yeah.
And they said, well, you know, we don't think so. She doesn't really watch television except for the NewsHour.
That was nice.
When she's working out.
She is 85,
Yes.
right? You show her being questioned about, because a lot of people wondered, should she have retired? Does she wish she had retired when President Obama was still president?
Well, she has answered this that, first of all, President Obama did have an opportunity to nominate a justice, and that didn't work out so well, so there's no guarantee that she would have been replaced by his nominee. And secondly, she objects to the idea that you necessarily have to go out with the same party that put you in. She says, look, I will do this job as long as I'm capable of doing it full steam. And from everything we saw, she still is capable.
That's
an energy level like you wouldn't believe.
We were chasing her around, and we were sometimes exhausted by her travel schedule. You know, it's extraordinary.
She's still keeping those long hours you were showing.
Yes.
Absolutely. Works long hours into the night and has a strikingly sharp memory for cases even that she argued in the 70s.
All right, the new documentary is RBG. Betsy West, Julie Cohen, thank you both very much.
Thank you, Jeff.